So I bring you the Trap God exhibit in the heart of the trap, East Atlanta Zone 6. I created an atmosphere for people to admire and even idolize the fantasy of the Trap God. The Trap Sanctuary.
I mean, for me, it's never enough. I'm never just satisfied with whatever accomplishments I've been blessed to be able to do so far. It's never enough. I keep pushing myself to do much more and to have just a bigger impact with everything that I do. So for me right now, it's understanding my position in the game, understanding my influence, and setting up legacy plays. So right here we're in the first legacy play I established, which is Kirk Studios, which is my own studio here in Atlanta, Georgia. This is the number one first step I did, and then right now we're in the process of the second step, which is me actually fostering and mentoring the next generation of visual leaders to come after me with my school collective gallery. So today today was a pretty special day for the class. I was able to bring in somebody that's helped my career tremendously early on, and someone that's gave me a big break, and Grammy nominated producer Sonny Digital stopped by the class today to share some insight on just what it takes for him to be an artist and as an entrepreneur in this world and working in a creative world. And students got a chance to interview him and ask some questions, and then he was kind enough to allow us to take some photos for their portfolio. So the first initial thought of it kind of came back in 2015. It was December 2015. I went to a 2 Chainz concert in Atlanta. He had a Christmas concert that Street X does all the time. And I was just in the crowd, just being, regular. And I didn't go backstage or anything. I was just in the crowd, and a friend of mine, Chili O, came up to me, and he was like, "Yo, it's this kid here. He's been trying to meet you. His name's Yachty." I was like, "Okay, I've never heard of that. I never heard of him, but if you vouching for him, where's he at?" And I remember at that time I got introduced to who now is Lil Yachty. And he told me, like, "Yeah, my dad's a photographer. I've been a fan of your work. Would love to work with you someday." And this is like even pre the Kanye fashion show days. So this is when he was super kind of under the radar to most, but still kind of, developing his foundation. And I remember I told him that day, I was like, "Yo, if you're serious, I'm in town for like 2 more days before I leave. Come to my office tomorrow and we'll chop it up and see if we can work together." And sure enough, the next day he came to my office, red hair, Nautica, head to toe. And I remember just sitting there with him and him, sharing his vision and what he likes and sharing his music. And I remember at the time I was like, "Wow, you live in Atlanta, right where I'm at, and I've never heard of you, but you got 60,000 plays on your SoundCloud." And I remember that was kind of like the first moment where I felt a sense like, man, the next generation is here. Definitely technology has been, in my opinion, one of our biggest resources, and in a certain way, one of our biggest handicaps and hindrances, especially as a photographer. I mean, these iPhone 7s can shoot almost as good as some of my DSLR cameras. I've seen it, the portrait mode, and I've seen images, and people have been able to kind of document their lifestyles just using phones. And it's definitely, in a way, made everybody, in a certain sense, a photographer. But the one thing that's going to always stick out no matter what is the eye. And that's one thing that's unique to each individual photographer that no one can kind of manufacture or create. You know what I mean? So no matter what you're using, no matter if technology advances to the point where you don't have to do nothing but just blink and a photo is taken, it's still going to be an eye that has to be in place. What's going on? This is Kirk, and I am REVOLT.